Hi, I'm Aaron Wolf. I'm a product manager here at Bentley, and in this week's tech tip for Plant, we're going to look at getting the most out of your isometrics and other deliverables by using Isometrics Manager along with ProjectWise Share to leverage Bentley Cloud Services to better take advantage of the distributed work environments that we see today.
So the concept here that I'll be demonstrating is the ability to produce isometrics and use ProjectWise Share as, and I'm doing air quotes here, Dropbox type of arrangement to share drawings with external project participants or fabricators. It allows you to post isometrics to a shareable location in your connected project and either send a link or allow controlled access without having to share anything else in your project. So it's a unique thing that can be done and make project sharing a lot easier. So let's go through this setup. The first thing that you do is go to your connection client, and that'll pull up shortly, and configure the ProjectWise Share service. So this is all, and you'll go to Preferences and Enable Share Sync. And you can see there's a sync frequency. You can set that to whatever you want, and also a sync now button if you have something that you want to periodically sync out of your schedule. But this is a feature of the connection passport, not specific to ProjectWise. So feel at ease to use this as long as you have a connection passport. Now what we'll do is we're going to go to Bentley Cloud Services and log in, and you'll go to a connected project. And so here we're going to log into one of our connected projects that I have set up, and you'll see that ProjectWise Share is a feature of all these projects. You'll see the tiles under ProjectWise Connection Services. Again, don't be afraid. ProjectWise is not required to use ProjectWise Share, but as we move forward, more capability from ProjectWise will be enabled inside that ProjectWise Share service. So we log into ProjectWise Share, and here we see there's a bunch of folders that already exist. But what you would do if you started this fresh, you'd have nothing here, and you can hit the new button and create new folders. But from here, sorry, my video froze here. From here, you'll see a number of folders already existing. You can create new ones. You can also upload files manually here if you're not connected to the ProjectWise Share sync capability that we previously showed being set up. But the thing we want to do first is configure our synchronized folders. And again, I mentioned Dropbox as a kind of similar thing that we're doing here. So this, inside your connected project, you can create these folders, and when you configure the sync folders, this is going to be configuring for the user that's logged in. So it's going to create those folders on your desktop. And again, we showed in the Connection Center where those settings were to sync the time frame, and you could sync manually whenever you want. The other thing we want to do, if we were going to consider setting up an external user to access this, we can go into the project team management and create a user. So here you can I'll look at my own roles in this project. I'm set up as engineer, guest, and designer. And each one of those have different capabilities of what they can do inside that connected project. For an external team member, right, you'd go in and see, for instance, a designer on your project is going to have the ability to do a lot more. Right? So in ProjectWise Share, they can read, write, delete. Now for an external user, you wouldn't want that capability given to someone. So for guest, that delete capability is not there. So anyone that you would add that's an external user, you'd want to make sure they're guest. And you can configure what guest can and can't do even beyond the default settings. But as we go forward, we'll have a lot more control. This is a service, so it's got a 3-week time period where they roll out new features and new bug fixes. So it's a lot quicker that you'll see new features in this ProjectWise Share than you do in desktop applications like OpenPlant Isometrics Manager or Modeler. So again, we go back to Connection Center, and we're going to do the manual sync because we have it set on 240 minute sync frequency by default. So we're going to sync now and pull down anything from the ProjectWise Share onto our desktop. And here you see in our Windows folder, the ProjectWise Share is now there, and our P1008 folder is there. And under that, you'll see the folders that were checked to be synced from our connected project. So here we have a folder for isometrics. We also have a folder for fabrication ISOs. So that's a folder. Again, we're on a user desktop right now. We're on my desktop. So I'm syncing a lot of things with that. We can leave that manual where we go and pull our isometrics from a network folder or from ProjectWise, or we can actually configure OPIM to push isometrics to that folder per style. So for instance, if we're on issue for construction, we could go into our isometric style in the isoproj.cfg, and you'll see that's where we tell OPIM where to put drawings when we're done. So you'll see here directory where DGNs are stored created. It's not just DGNs, it's any output drawing. So if you're set up to produce DWGs, it's going to do the same there. But we can tell it where to put our DGN files apart from the traditional things that all go in the same style folder, which are our configuration data, LOO, the temp files, PCF files. So those are all stored. They have a separate location that are set for, but we can tell it where to put just the DWG files. So here we're going to put them in the fabrication ISOs folder on our local machine. So OPIM will produce DWG files or DGNs, place them there, and the ProjectWise Share service will sync that up to our connected project on the schedule we set in the connection client. So here we'll save that file, make sure we're doing that, and now we'll go into OpenPlant Isometrics Manager and actually run some isometrics and show the workflow and its completion. So again, we've made some updates. We're checking this, so now we're going to open OpenPlant Isometrics Manager. Just use the sample project style, open a DGN file here. This is an iModel that we're loading here into OpenPlant Isometrics Manager. Now, so this would work regardless of the interface how you run isometrics. If you're doing them in session in OpenPlant, in session in AutoPlant, or either way out session, which we're showing here, your settings to place drawings are going to be handled the same way. So here we're expanding down, looking at our ISO sheets that were set up in our model from our designer, and we're just going to run this list of isometrics. Now normally I cut for time. I would trim this and not make you sit through the excruciating pain of watching OpenPlant Isometrics Manager run isometrics. But we're going to watch this run briefly. You'll see we have 10 ISO sheets, but we're producing more DWGs, DGNs than that. So OpenPlant Isometrics Manager is splitting those based on our rules as opposed to them being split on our settings in either AutoPlant or OpenPlant in an in-session run. So again, showing the power of the OPIM, giving it the control to split drawings on attributes or running spools and seeing the fabrication drawings that are produced there. So here we ran all of those sheets, and we can go check our local folder for ProjectWise Share, and now we have all those DGNs. All those sheet isometrics have been produced. Now you'll notice there was a clip here because I accidentally opened one in Navigator and the first time I recorded it, but I wanted to show you here you can pull up the Isometrics Manager interface as its own application. Again, going back to the unique executables, we can do that here without going to a separate application. So here you see you're in the Isometrics workflow inside of MicroStation. This is the OPIM interface, and you can see the isometric that was run. If you wanted to do any edits here, you could certainly do them here, but this ISO is so clean and pristine, we don't have to touch it. Keep muted, I don't want to hear any laughs. But, right, so the point was that we're showing this workflow of producing isometrics and sharing them up to a connected project, potentially sharing them with fabricators or remote colleagues. So think of an AutoPlant side. You could put a briefcase drawing or a project package and share it with a remote participant, and they could put updates up there, and you can pull them back into your project without having to replicate a SQL database. That's always a nice thought. So again, we're going to look in this fabrication ISOs. If you don't want to configure a user, we just showed how you can create a link to the folder and the documents inside and just email it to someone who's not connected to this project, and they will only see the files that are in that folder, and they won't be able to delete them or do anything else. They'll just be able to read them. They could download them, and then they'd have those DGNs. So also dependent on your project and user settings that you do, if you're producing PDFs to give out so you don't want anyone to mess with them, again, this is just file sharing, so you can put whatever you want in there. We're just showing doing that for DGNs. So here, that link opens up just that folder, and users can have access to what you share with them without having to open up anything on your firewall, without having to share any project-related data that's sensitive or things that you don't want someone else to be able to edit or mess with. So again, hopefully you see the value of this workflow. The options are endless, and again, this service is constantly being updated with new features, and that's some of the value that we've provided with Connect Edition products, is access to all of this along with other connected project functionality. That's all going to come into play in the very near future. So I'm very excited about other things that we have going with OpenPlant Isometrics Manager, and I hope you stay tuned to some of the news that's coming out in the near future of what we'll be providing.
I hope you found that information useful. Please stay tuned for future tech tips. As always, this is Aaron Wolf signing off from Bentley Plant.